Senator Mark Warner is joining us this morning, and he, his press people sent us his agenda for today and where he's heading and what he's doing. But we know the real reason why Mark Warner came back to Richmond, and we've come up with our top 5 reasons why Senator Mark Warner is in Richmond today. Here we go.
I'm ready.
Number 5, so he can play laser tag.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sounds good.
That's good.
Yep. Number 4, start a new career as a baseball pitcher.
Ooh.
Did you throw out the ball last night?
I threw out the ball. And,
It was bad?
It did not dribble, but it was a little high. I'd rather be high than dribble it in.
Number 3 reason Mark Warner's in town. Shelley's Ham Biscuits.
Amen. Amen. You got it. That's a winner.
Number 2 reason to detox from D.C.
All you got was
That's a 28-day process retreat.
There's no rehab good enough
A
for that.
12-step process, I think.
And the number 1 reason Mark Warner is in town today to announce that he's resigning from the U.S. Senate to run a write-in campaign for governor of Virginia. No comment.
Hey, we can dream.
It's great to be back in Richmond. Back with 2 of my favorite people, and I gotta
Changing
tell
the
you,
subject.
I gotta tell you, these ham biscuits are sweet.
That's number 1.
That is number
Oh,
1.
darn it.
Welcome home.
Well, it is great to be
Good to
back.
have you here. All right, so what is the actual reason you're in town?
Well, I think a couple of those sounded pretty good.
Yeah.
No, I'm 4 days, 1,200 miles. Started yesterday in Northern Virginia and going to end up in Hampton Roads tonight and Roanoke tomorrow and going to end up at the race in Bristol on Friday night. But this morning, actually, and I don't want to leave the wrong impression with the listeners, I'm going to go over and do a tour of one of our new craft breweries we've got here in town.
He's always working.
It doesn't mean I'm starting to.
He's always working.
I'm not going to be
have 2 biscuits,
I'm not
sir.
going to be sampling at 10:30 in the morning.
What a great guy. Coming back to support businesses in Richmond, that's amazing.
I know. I went from wine to now beer, and nothing about that DC job is doing that. No, but this is one of those times when you get out and hear from people explain why they think Congress should only have a 7% approval rating, and that's probably on the high side.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to find anybody in that 7% who actually thinks Congress is doing a good job, and ask them, what in the heck are you thinking?
It was some of the mothers of the congressmen.
Yeah,
That's what that was about.
Mother, staff, in terms of recent times, I'm not even sure the mothers and the staff, but it's
Nobody loves me but my mama, and she could be jiving too.
But it's it is these times it is great to get back out because the one thing I hear from Virginians, I don't care whatever part of the state, is why can't you just get some stuff done? And I got to tell you, I share their frustration. We've been on the station before. I've talked to a lot of folks about my efforts around the debt and deficit, the so-called Gang of 6, and then we had the Gang of 8 and around immigration reform. I say I work in the only city in America where being a gang member is a good thing.
Well,
That's true.
It hasn't been
thought
going
of
so
that.
good lately.
It hasn't. No, it's like some of this stuff should not be this hard. What I didn't appreciate, I was not new to politics. I loved being governor and loved being here, but I didn't even appreciate, but having worked on Capitol Hill as a kid, been a governor, how much once you get there now, everything is team sports. Red shirt, blue shirt.
Yeah.
And for those of us who are trying to say, hey, occasionally it's time to check your party hat and put the country first, you actually kind of get your legs chopped off at times from your own team. What? You were trying to work with these guys? But the one thing is there's a lot more people in town in D.C. that actually I do think want to get stuff done. And somehow we've got to make it safe for people to put country over party.
I don't know what's happened.
That's a little heavy for 8:15 in the morning, I know, on the show, but it just...
Let's go back to the beer.
Let's go back to the beer.
You're working, helping with veterans, too. Tell us
Yeah.
real quickly about that.
Well, that was actually a really good thing we did yesterday. We've been working with the tech community in Northern Virginia, where they are trying to link returning veterans with tech companies in a way to try to increase employment of vets. I mean, one of the things we all think support our vets, regardless of what we feel about the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Everybody, supports our veterans. The problem is, veterans unemployment is higher than non-vet unemployment, and we really don't kind of put our actions into words. And so this was an effort to try to link with Monster.com, easily usable site for veterans to kind of sign up and get opportunities in the tech community. Because a lot of times, you get skills in the military, and those skills don't translate into necessarily civilian skills. Even though, if you're a radio technician in the military, you got to be able to be a radio technician in civilian life. They don't equate necessarily. So we're trying to mesh that better. We got another initiative where we're actually working with Dominion and we call it Troops to Energy, where we're trying to get folks into the energy field. Because, one of the things we ought to do is, go the extra mile for these folks who've helped protect us. And candidly, a lot of these veterans, one of the things that's a challenge is you've got to not only help them get a job, but a lot of these men and women are coming back with some, they may not come back with physical wounds, but the amount of kind of post-traumatic stress and other transition problems they've got, you really have got to have an employer who's willing to kind of go the extra mile as well and have that ability to know how to help somebody get through those rough patches.
And one thing you did as governor that, still is impressive to me is really working with businesses in Virginia to grow those businesses, to bring new business in. And that's one of the things you're doing as you travel the state this week.
Yeah, we're still trying to talk about how we can, work with the governor, work with the state, work with local folks about how you can bring more business to Virginia. And, I think Northern Virginia is doing great. Richmond is hopping. I look around at some of the kind of restaurant scene and everything in Richmond. Gosh, it was a lot better now than it was, 6 or 7 years ago when I was here. But one of the areas where we still got a ways to go is South Side in Southwest Virginia. And, and I'm passionate about the fact that, you shouldn't have to leave your hometown to find a good job. In the information age, we've shown you can build, tech companies, other kind of companies in China and India. We need to put that same kind of effort on bringing jobs back into Danville and Martinsville and down in Southwest Virginia. So
Sir, we're
making some progress.
We're up against the clock here, real quick.
Yep.
One final thought from you. Anything random you want to hit before you go?
Yeah,
go
just
have a
just
beer.
the fact that just the fact that I know people get frustrated, and I just ask everybody to keep the faith. I mean, the things have got to get better. I think the single biggest thing holding back economic recovery, candidly, is us in Washington getting our act together and trying to get this budget and debt and deficit fixed. And I just want to tell folks I'm going to hang in there and try to make sure we actually get towards solution set as opposed to simply blaming the other side. One thing, I remember I was a business guy before I was in politics. One thing people always ask, what's the difference between business and politics? Politics is the only business where you can spend your whole career running down the other side and never get anything done, and that be a successful career. You wouldn't do that in business.
No, you would never do that in business.
So,
never badmouth the competition.
Right, it just does. Well, listen, if you guys didn't put out a good product, you wouldn't be the most popular show in Central Virginia. So,
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Good model of follow.
Right. Mark Warner, our special guest this morning on Lite 98. The Mark Warner World Tour, the Virginia Tour, is on the road today, and he made a stop in with us.
Thanks,
Always
Bill.
an honor,
Thanks,
sir.
Shelly.
Thank you very much. It is 8:30 at Lite 98.